There appears to be a renewed interest in LaserDisc as of late. This interest isn't coming from old fans of the medium, but rather a new generation of movie watchers curious about the dead format. Myself, I personally have 2 players. The first was purchased at a Goodwill thrift shop for $15. It's a Pioneer CLD M401. This player is unique as it is also a 5-disc CD changer. As far as I can tell from my research, this is the only 5-disc CD changer LaserDisc combo player ever to be released. It's absolutely massive and looks terrific in an AV rack. Pioneer also stuck with a numbering convention, which is noteworthy if you're going to purchase a machine. On Pioneer players, the higher the number, the better. This 401 is a mid-range player. It features S-Video along with a Toslink digital output. With that, let's talk about the confusing mess that is LaserDisc audio. Basically, there is a digital track and an analog track. The digital track is similar to the later compact disc format and can sound fairly exceptional. The analog tracks generally don't sound as good, but like any audio, it all depends on how it was mastered. Garbage in, garbage out. What's more interesting is the left and right analog channels can contain different information. For example, the left analog audio stream could contain a commentary track. Most modern players will play this out both the left and right speakers, so you don't have to worry about connecting or disconnecting cables. LaserDisc also introduced true 5.1 surround sound to the mainstream. The most convenient option is DTS. This would take up the disc's digital audio track, and if your player has a Toslink output on the back, this will plug right into a modern AV receiver, and you're good to go. Less convenient, but more popular, is Dolby Digital. This would take up the right analog track and isn't compatible with modern AV equipment. A special modulator is needed to convert this analog signal into a normal Dolby Digital bit stream. Also interesting is that while DVDs usually advertise Dolby Digital, LaserDiscs typically refer to this by its more formal name, AC3. It's kind of cool. LaserDisc aficionados will argue LaserDisc surround mixes are superior to DVD, as they are of a higher bitrate. However, this is only partially true. A poorly mixed surround soundtrack playing at a higher bitrate will not sound as good as an expertly mixed surround soundtrack playing at a lower bitrate. Surround mixes found on today's optical media are often mixed completely different than a theatrical release, tailor-made for your living room. This didn't really exist in the LaserDisc era, and the sound mixes more closely resemble a theatrical sound mix, for better or for worse. This LaserDisc player also features an S-Video output. While common wisdom would suggest this is superior to composite, this isn't true with LaserDisc. The video on a LaserDisc is actually analog composite video. While it has twice the resolution as the inferior VHS format, it's still composite video. If a player has S-Video output, it means the player has circuitry built in to separate the luminance and chrominance information and output S-Video. The circuitry in your television will almost always do a much better job at this than a 20-year-old LaserDisc player. This brings me to my second LaserDisc player. This is a CLD V2800, purchased for $30 at a local pawn shop. As the model number starts with a 2, this is a lower-end player. However, I love the fact that it's small and the disc tray is much more reliable than the big player. It lacks the optical port, so I can't play DTS surround tracks, but I value the practicality over the versatility. It also has a sweet remote. If this doesn't scream retro, then I don't know what does. With the player information out of the way, let's move on to the discs. This is the real reason people are interested in the format. The discs are huge, about the size of an LP record. Thanks to the large size, they come with awesome packaging. Sometimes this is lackluster, other times the packaging is more substantial, offering additional artwork on the inside. These also fit in frames designed for records, so you can display them on your wall. The video distribution company Criterion also got its start with LaserDiscs, and helped set the expectation of what a home release of a film could be. Because of Criterion, most LaserDiscs are presented in widescreen. This means if you are watching a film on an old TV, there will be black bars on the top and bottom. If watching on a modern television, you'll want to use the zoom function so it fills the screen. In my modest collection, I have just a single flick that isn't presented in widescreen. Criterion also pioneered extra features as well as commentary tracks. Some of their LaserDisc offerings are absolutely massive. The Criterion release of Brazil spans 5 separate discs, includes 2 versions of the film, documentaries, as well as audio commentary. While the norm now, this was groundbreaking at the time. The best part about Laserdiscs is the collecting aspect. Most movies can be purchased for between $2 and $5 at local used media stores. As Laserdisc was an enthusiast product, most discs and their packaging were well taken care of. Again, I have just a disc or 2 that are experiencing some laser rot, and most of my collection plays back flawlessly. While Laserdisc has been dead for a good 15 years now, it's still a fun platform to collect for. Despite most releases being fairly uncommon, especially by video game standards, it's absolutely dirt cheap to collect for. So, should you buy a Laserdisc player? Well, if you're into all things retro, I would recommend keeping your eyes open. If you have a $20 bill to spend and come across one at a thrift shop, grab one. It really is a neat little piece of nostalgia and fits nicely with all my other 80s and 90s gadgets. It just might fulfill a need you didn't know you had.